Now we're actually reaching people and getting videos in front of them, educating them to where they're, and then when they do contact us, we might be the only person they contact. Like
you said, when we're walking into the houses, we're getting customers that we're informing that we can do something, and by the time we even get to them, they already trust us. They've already watched so much of our content. They know us for the most part.
That's what it kind of sounds like to me, is you're like in a different level of consciousness at that moment in time. And so then these thoughts come to you, and so if you shared them right away, you'd be like a video journal.
It's kind of what we were talking about earlier, but the amount of people that are telling me face to face that that's how they found us is like overwhelming. So it's like, definitely don't let the numbers like dictate what you're doing.
What investing in this whole podcast and creating content and building your personal brand, how has that changed you on a personal level?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Born in 10 podcast. Excited to be here for another episode with my big brother, Josh.
What's going on, everybody? Today we have a very special guest with us, Kate from Wealthy Creator, and also Create with Kate podcast. Check it out, follow. This one, we actually talk about personal brand and the effect of working with Ryan Pineda and his crew and Kate has had on our business. And it's a really good one. Check it out.
I have the biggest problem, operations.
Okay.
I need to be hiring now,
Okay.
which we did. We already hired one person. We have more interviews set up for him. Actually, we hired two people now since that meeting.
So how did he help you identify that?
Oh, as we started going through the number of leads we were getting, and then realizing how far, and then B, how far booked out we were in our flat glass division itself. So it's at a point right now where do one or two things, raise pricing, which we already needed to do in other parts of the company that as we started breaking down our pricing, and he started kind of going through it, he was like, you raise your price over here. So we raise our pricing. It's just more likely I'm handicapping our salespeople right now because the amount of leads that we're getting, we for the past 2 weeks, we've had over 235 leads.
Yeah, so that was the big takeaway, is build a real sales team. So now we're hiring another in-house person, and we're kind of restructuring the sales team to have...
Because you were doing most of the sales, right?
No.
I thought you were going on sales calls.
No, well, he is now. Let me backtrack.
Okay.
He wasn't. It was my cousin Misty. She took over from my dad. When my dad was in the company, he was doing all sales. So we never had a sales team because he just was him doing sales, and we had someone up front in the front of the shop doing the auto sales. Any person who was doing the invoices, warranties, stuff like that, they've always fallen in the category as, oh, you're doing sales too.
Yeah.
So because of it, in my eyes, the podcast, and then also leaning into the social media and actually really grinding and getting through all that. Now we're at a point, I think that was one of the biggest takeaways from that meeting, is that, all right, everything we've been doing for the past 6 months is now caught up to us. And now we're at the point of, we need a sales team to actually service all the leads till we actually get to the people in the proper amount of time. Because we tell our front desk, we have 2 people up front right now. We tell them, like, first it was 10 minutes, and then after talking to Ryan's 5 minutes, get to those leads within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And
speed to lead is always talking
and that's
about.
we're so overwhelmed right now that it's like that first meeting was like probably worth like the entire thing. Just identifying what were the real like levers we could pull on, that being overwhelming right now. Now we're gonna have an inside sales team, outside sales team, and be able to keep up with stuff to where, because we're still landing a lot right now, but it's like we're definitely losing a lot on the fact that we can't get to everybody fast enough. So it's like there's, on top of our leads being way up, our consultation schedule being way up, like there's room for more to actually go through the pipeline. And our installers are maxed out right now. So we're like hiring more people to train. So that's like perfect because we've now got a really good solid base team together. And Ricky's gonna spend more time hands-on, like spending like a full-on handful of days blocked off to just straight train somebody and get them with the crew as fast as possible. So
that's what I'm trying to get to right now. And since, of course, as soon as we have that meeting, I mean, it's not to say that we weren't busy to begin with. We were busy. I mean, the past 3 months, we've set records in every single month. The best month we've had in April? No, in March. We had the best March we ever had. We had the best April. Our May is the best month we've ever had.
Ever.
By a
50%.
Like landslide. So as getting out of that meeting, realizing already what I have to do, but also already at the point where we're about 2 weeks behind in getting stuff done.
So can you share with us, like, because I don't think people understand the impact and the numbers, right? So as far as like follower count and how many podcast downloads and that kind of thing, like share with us where those numbers are at, because they're not like crazy
No,
numbers,
not at
you
all.
know. But
No.
and that's the point, is
Yeah.
that you don't need
Yeah.
crazy numbers to monetize, right? Like clearly you're
Yeah,
seeing
yeah.
the leads come through.
Yeah.
For sure. That's been going out on sales consultations for the last 3 months now has been super eye-opening. Customer after customer after customer is telling me that they either like Googled window tint, came to
Mhm.
our site because we had a bunch of reviews, then all of a sudden we were in their Instagram feed or their Facebook feed, and they just
Mhm.
kept seeing our videos over and over and over again, or they just found us on there,
Perfect. Yeah.
and that's the only reason they knew that they could tint their house. Like they didn't even think about
Okay.
tint and tinting their home. And it's like, okay, that's exactly what the plan was.
Yeah.
Let's make content, let's educate the public, and let's create more demand.
Yeah.
Like everybody's fighting on ads on people that already
Mhm.
know about a product. Our product's awesome because a lot of people still don't know that we can do it.
Yep.
I've been hearing it my whole life. I show up on jobs and the
Mhm.
person's like, man, I wish I would have known I could have done my home a long time ago. I always just
Yeah,
thought it
most
was for
people don't know.
cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and now we're actually reaching people and getting videos in front of them, educating them to where
Mhm.
they're, and then when they do contact us, we might be the only person they contact. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you educated me that this is even possible. And then they see our Google reviews, they see everything else. And it's like the brand kind of is
Right.
like definitely elevated by doing all of this, I think.
Because before 6 months ago, because it started 6 months ago. Yeah. So, yeah, almost
Yeah.
exactly.
It's
Right.
even a little bit more than that now.
Yeah,
It's
what,
the first-
September?
If I'm not mistaken,
When
no, we
was
just
it?
ran out.
We didn't
first-
start, yeah, we didn't start
6
posting until October.
Yeah. Yeah, 6 months. I mean,
Okay.
Or
I think
November.
it was 7 to 8 months, but we didn't start
Yeah.
posting. It took us,
Yeah, because you had to get all those episodes,
Yeah.
you know, piled
Yeah.
up. So,
the first initial grind.
but you weren't really posting much before that, right? Just for
Occasionally.
context.
Yeah, occasionally. We had someone in house where she was putting things together. We were just
Mhm.
trying to get anything out there. Now, as soon as we started recording the podcast and started getting the clips and the reels, then that became consistent. That's
Yeah.
one every day. And then we started adding to that. We took our graphics guy, who is in house, who he actually, thankfully, I mean, we got lucky. He went to school for 2 years for editing. So
Okay,
he
yeah.
knows how to run Premiere. Like he knows how to
Mhm.
run the program. So he started dabbling, and he's actually really excited to start doing it. Which
Yeah.
it's really cool seeing him how engaged he is with
Yeah.
it, and like him bouncing around the shop, recording everyone, trying to get
Yeah.
any kind of content, making some funny memes, and then also making some stuff that's more educational too at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
So I know that we're gonna be able to ramp it up even more.
Yeah.
I mean, we're like
That-
30.
That is one of the things I'm like the most crazy excited about, because I've been saying, like, I would occasionally do stuff. We would all
Yeah.
like occasionally do stuff, but like having someone that can like
Dedicated.
and knows what he's doing. It's funny, like I think he started with Premiere, but I think he's using CapCut a lot now because he's
Yeah.
realized that some of the templates and stuff
Well,
in there.
for
And so
the-
I think he's using both. But,
For real,
but he's
yeah.
like he's going out of his way to educate himself, and you can see him getting better at
He's
it.
passionate about the
Yeah,
brand
and he's-
making the edits, telling the story. With
Yeah.
you guys.
And he's also excited at the fact that he gets to use something that he learned for 2
Mhm.
years. And like that's, I mean, he went to college for
Yeah.
he was learning
Yeah.
that, and then just ended up not using it. And now he
Right.
gets to start using it. So he found a new motivation.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a new excitement for him to be at work.
And he knows the business better than most people because he's been with us for how long now? I mean, these guys grew up best friends. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's
15
cool.
years.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about you guys and your brand, is that it's so family oriented, like, and friends, I guess. So, and when you're all have the same goal and mission, not just the metrics,
Yeah.
but like the deeper purpose, like that's when people are engaged, I think. But so you weren't doing content before, really. It was just here and there.
Yeah.
And then what was the moment where you were like, okay, let's invest in this and go all in? What was that?
Nada's video.
What video?
When you guys started the podcast, Use My Team. As soon as
Okay.
that popped up, he'd been bugging me for the past 2 years to do a podcast.
Okay.
I told him, gather everything together. get the
Yeah.
cameras together, figure out how we're gonna edit it. Like, for me, I'm definitely more operations based of like, come to me with necessarily a plan, but also like what's going to cost.
Yeah.
Why? How are we going to set this up? Type thing. Give me at least a skeleton of an outline, and then I'll take it from there. So I kept telling him, bring that stuff to me, and we get busy, it gets pushed off, and then eventually I was already starting to try to engage more on social media because I realized I had to come out of my comfort zone and start actually doing something with it, because if I want to help promote my company and promote our brand, that's just the way everything's going right now. And then I was already following Ryan to begin with, knew him through baseball and stuff. Growing up playing in Vegas and stuff, so I knew of him, and I was already following him. And then all of a sudden, his short form clip came by and said, "Hey, want to do a podcast? Use my team." And I was like, I saw it, I showed him. He was like, "Yes." I filled it out. I put my sister's information in there so she'll follow through with the phone call. Got on the first phone call, then got the second video that got sent to us, which it was Ryan explaining kind of what the steps are, what the goal is, so it was exactly the framework that you guys have pretty much showed us and taught us how to use. Start with short form, get their attention, leads back to long form, earn their trust.
Right.
And then by then, like you said, when we're walking into the houses, we're getting customers that we're informing that we can do something, and by the time we even get to them, they already trust us. They've already watched so much of our content. They know us for the most part. And then beyond that, just the clips, they go to our reviews. And then they go to our website and they start looking, 40 years of business, 1,600 plus reviews, 5-star reviews. And then by the time we walk in the door, like, there's not to say there is no competition, but like, they're not calling anyone else. They're just calling us.
Well, yeah, because they're already sold at that point. So I feel like, if you're listening to this, go Google your name and see what comes up, because that's like a good indicator of how strong your personal brand is. Like, can someone Google your name or your business, and what are they going to see?
For sure.
Say Google. And now this is a question I did have that I didn't get to ask you last time we talked. When it comes to personal content and business content, I know that we're putting ourselves out there. When it comes to the collabing, I know that we collab all the business stuff with our personal accounts, just to kind of give us, so if people are going to follow us, they follow us. Now, when it comes to us posting stuff, like, the only things I usually post on mine is running. It's either running or business.
Yeah.
Should we be pushing that to the business page too, just to show the other side of the business of like us getting up the running and stuff like that? And not so much like personal, like family and stuff like that.
I think it depends on how it's positioned. So if it's about you do these things because it makes you a stronger leader in your business, it makes you, like tie it into the business, then I think it makes sense.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think that you should 100% do that. Now, this is a unique situation, right? Because there's multiple people here. So normally, I would always just tell somebody, have your personal account, and it depends on the situation, but usually I'm like, just have one account because it's easier for you to manage. Now, obviously that depends on where their business is at, but like for you guys, since there's many of you, you have your business page, which should incorporate all of you. And then you're collabing with each other. But yeah, I wouldn't say you have to do collabs on everything that you're posting personally with the business, but some stuff that would make sense. Yeah.
Well, for me, it would be specifically just my training for my ultra, because I know that's a topic that usually it gets brought up. We'll be talking, all of a sudden it's like, oh, ultra marathons, what's that? And then we'll end up talking about it. And it's only usually my training blocks. I mean, that's the only time I usually post anything. It has to do with my training block. That's about it.
Well, I think there's a direct correlation between training and business, right? Like if know how to train, then you know how to like execute a business plan.
For sure. I was actually just going to bring up when we were talking about like what's happened as far as like marketing and us getting busier. I think it's exactly that. We've been just grinding at it, figuring out where the holes are and fixing them and adding pieces little by little. And now it's finally like we're seeing a huge payoff, but it's been a long grind. I mean, the other cool thing that happened at the exact same time that we started doing this was we started looking at our ad spend and where it was going and what we were getting back. And we made some adjustments there too at the same time. So
tell us the numbers on that, if you don't mind. Just so people can really comprehend what.
I don't
You're
know.
about to tell us.
I don't know.
I'm
off the top of the
operations.
head.
Put a job in front of me. I'm gonna tint that window. Or
Because
I-
you
so-
lowered the ad spend, right? That's where we're
so
going
we
with
actually
this?
switched agencies. So
Oh, okay.
we kind of switched agencies on the ads that we're doing, and the new agency is doing a really good job leveraging all the organic content
Okay.
and turning that into solid ads because they can
Yep.
see which ones are hitting
Yeah.
and then use those. And I think that like I can see it in our cost per lead
hmm
has plummeted.
Okay,
So-
this is big because I had a podcast last night and I want to talk to you guys about this because I think it's a really interesting topic that's very controversial. So some people pay for engagement, right? I'm sure you've heard of this,
Yeah.
where, but it's real people, and this is how the people that do this they justify it. Well, it's real people, and it's just getting you more visibility to your business, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like based what you just said, which is such a great idea, right? You leverage your organic, and then you turn that into ads. Well, the only way that you're going to know how your organic is really performing is if it's organic. Like
Yeah.
you can't have people engaging with it because
Yeah.
then you don't really know what is effective.
Yeah, 100%. That's like a total like Gary Veeism, like that I've learned from listening to him is like post a bunch of stuff, go crazy.
Yep.
You don't go outside of the lines, go
Yep.
outside the box, go crazy. If it's crap, the algorithm's going to give you the result.
Yep.
Nobody will watch it. But
Mhm.
if something strikes and it's entertaining and it catches people's attention, they're going to share it. They're going to save it. They're
Yes.
going to engage with it, right?
Yeah.
And if they do that, you've got a home run ad on your hands. Now
Yeah.
take it and turn it into an ad.
Yeah.
And that has definitely worked.
And you can look at someone's page and you see they have this crazy amount of followers, but then you look at their content and you see that it's not engaged with at all. You're like,
Yeah.
and you paid for it. I mean,
Right.
it's
But
blatantly
now they're doing it where, because it used to be, you'd see a lot with it would just be followers, right?
Yeah.
And that would be the only one that they're focused on. Now they're paying for people to comment, to share, to like. And so, but the way that you know is you look at their account, right? And you see it's like they have 20,000 views on like every single video, and they have like the same amount of comments. So it's like, 100 comments or this or whatever, and
Yeah.
this many share. So they're all the same. And you can see. I mean, if you didn't really
Yeah.
look, you wouldn't probably know. And that's their argument, is that it just adds credibility. But I argue that it actually hurts you and your reputation because that's inauthentic. And in order to build a strong personal brand, you have to be authentic.
Yeah.
And you won't get better doing it either.
Because you don't know.
Yeah,
you can't look at the
don't know
numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I would agree with
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So I
And I
just,
wonder how many people take the time to like delete the ones that don't perform well, so that the page just looks
Yeah.
better. As far as like, oh, this one didn't do good, so they delete it. But it's like we've had some that didn't do well,
just leave
and then
it.
a month
Yeah.
later,
They'll do
for
well,
some
yeah.
reason, it did well. Like let it sit. Like if
Mhm.
nobody saw it, nobody saw it.
Right.
What's your definition of not doing well though? What? So you had 200 or 300 people see it. That's
It's still 200,
Yeah. No, I
Like,
totally.
that's
So
great.
true.
Like,
I agree
But you're
with
right. That is
Like,
what
but that's
people
people's
do.
mentality.
They do.
Yeah.
So, okay, how many followers do you guys have right now on the account?
3,000
On
something.
Instagram.
3,000 and something.
Okay, 3,000. So I want people to hear this. So how many did you start with?
Oh, before we started the podcast, it was in the low twos.
Okay, low
Uh,
twos.
If I'm not mistaken.
No, it was growing at like 2%. So I know before the podcast,
Mhm.
we were getting 2% or less new followers every 30 days. Right now, it's been like around the 9% range.
Okay,
So
so
it's massive.
definitely
The
had
percentage
growth.
Yeah.
But this is what's important is because 3,000 followers to a lot of people, it's like, oh, it's only 3,000,
Yeah.
right? That's like the mentality. 3,000, I mean, 1,000 can make a massive impact
Oh, yeah.
in your business. So, and you guys have gained 1,000 new followers, plus you already had a couple thousand, but even at 3,000 followers, like this is what it can do to your business. You said what did it do to their revenue?
Oh, we this month's our biggest month we've ever had. We're at
Biggest month you've ever had.
Yeah, 50% higher than
Yeah.
previous.
Biggest.
And
it's,
everyone's
typically our
saying they
biggest
see
month
your
is like
podcast,
June or
they see
July.
this. Yeah.
And
So
we're not
that's
even
going to
there
be
yet.
insane.
Yeah.
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 And you just did Ryan Pineda's new Tesla.
Yeah.
So, and you're going to film some content after this. So then that's going to hit the internet, and
Well,
then what?
The one little sneak peek video we did. Jordan, our guy, our in-house editor, we were messing around and we did. I held onto some vinyl and swung into it like a baseball bat, like hitting the door, and then snap. The door was wrapped.
Okay.
I didn't even realize.
You should have tagged him.
Michelle wasn't supposed to post it. It was literally sent to her just as a preview, and she posted it. But it's got like 17,000 views.
Yeah, and it's of Pineda's vehicle, and like we didn't even mention that.
It doesn't. Nobody knows it's of his vehicle.
No. Wow. We didn't tag him or anything yet. Like it's a short one, but it's really cool because he's acting like the film's a baseball bat.
Is it that transition thing?
Yeah.
We got even a better one. We did the hood where I hit the hood, and I did it to begin with when there was pretty much nothing on the car, and then I just did it when it finished. Yeah. So you see me hit it, and then you see the whole car change tint.
Oh, we're gonna make that each panel in the final.
Have you seen the one with the woman in the swimsuit? She's like kind of heavy, and it's like water.
Actually,
I want you guys to do that. I want you to do that one.
Our graphics guy sent that to me, and I was thinking about I'm gonna do it at my house in this and act like I'm doing a consultation in front of some windows.
Yeah.
And then have me get splashed and be like,
oh yeah. Or what if you were behind the window, right?
I still think mine was better. I was working on a Lotus at the time. We were doing a full clear bra on a Lotus, and I was like, "Dude, I got the idea. I'm gonna hold the piece of clear bra and be like, hey, can you wet this real quick?" And then snap to her, and then just throw all the water at me.
Yes, no, that would be good. That one's so funny. I was gonna do one
for House 10. We can still do them. We should do them.
We need to do them.
No, you should, because I was watching some of those. There was the one where the horse kicks this chicken, and then it goes into like the batter at the chicken place. I'm like, oh my god, this is so funny to me. But I'm like, should I not think this is funny?
No,
you know,
but
no, it's so funny. Yeah. But anyway, so this is the impact that showing up, making the investment, putting in the time, because that's what it takes. You had to show up. You had to schedule these podcasts. You had to be consistent with it. Sometimes you probably didn't want to film, but you did it. And how much have you invested in the organic side of it? Like, just so everyone can kind of understand what that looks like too.
Now, to begin with, I would say it was still kind of spotty. We still were leaning on the reels from the podcast. And what kind of made the push to all of a sudden, like, I downloaded CapCut and I started doing some. And then when Jordan jumped in, now he's posting, we're at least 1 to 2 extra videos a day. So we're at least 2 to 3 pieces of content.
Which is great.
Constantly. And we want to keep getting it higher.
Yeah, the consistency, I think, is the key. I think the algorithm respects it, and and you get better at it.
But what really spurred the, even for because like I said, me getting on my comfort zone, doing anything on social media.
You had resistance.
Oh yeah, I have so many videos on my phone for me training of me either recording, like I'm gonna do something. I think we talked about this last time too.
Yeah.
And I've gotten better at posting them, but I still have a log of videos that
could be posted.
I make it, and then I go to work, and then I start doing stuff, and then the next day, and I talk about what day it is. I'm just like, oh, it's yesterday.
Is it because you're waiting to edit it later?
It's time.
Is that why?
It's time. It comes down to time because usually past 2 weeks have been kind of a gauntlet for me. It's been I've kind of been redlined for the past 2 weeks. Thankfully, this 3-day weekend got me. I was able to get some sleep, relax, and actually get back to zero. But I'm up at about 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
and then
I know you're up early.
Yeah,
so I see you when I'm up. I get up early, but not that early.
Yeah, so and usually that's not what my game plan is. Usually 4 a.m. Get up at 4,
same. Yeah,
go run, and then go to work. But because I've had vehicles sitting in the shop and I've had just the how much work we've had, how many tasks I've got to do, I got to get up at that time. I run, and then from there I'm in the shop at 4, and then it's nonstop when I'm in there. Just trying.
Can I make a suggestion for you?
Absolutely.
Because there's an efficient way to do this. If you are actually filming something, which it sounds like you are, and then you're just leaving it on your phone, I would just do stories. Whatever it is that you're capturing on your phone, just capture it through your stories, because don't worry about the edit.
So just talk.
Just do a basic edit.
What about is there a caption?
Yeah, there's captions on stories. Just click on the thing on Instagram and add it.
And then
that's the second part. That's the other thing. But usually I go straight to ChatGPT for that.
Oh, but you're not going to need a caption. You just need subtitles is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So if you're just documenting the training experience, just be on your stories documenting it. Like, you know, you show up on your stories sometimes.
I've since when last time we talked, I have been engaging more with that, and I've been either I'll make a reel and I'll put it shared stories, and then I think my wife told me I had to back off from sharing on my stories the running memes. There's a couple of people that I follow that are just the memes that I see, at least for a runner, they're absolutely hilarious. And
I think you should share those because that's part of your brand. But I think what I would do if I was you is I would focus on showing up on my stories. Don't worry about the edits. Just put some subtitles on there. It's like one button.
Yep.
And just keep sharing them to your story, because then that's going to come to the front of the feed for your followers. And then you can see which ones people are engaging with, and then you can just go back, save them, and turn them into a reel. Same kind of concept that you're doing with the ads, right? Also, you're more likely to sell if you show up in stories, because they feel like they know you even more when you do that. So that would be an easy way for you to do what you're already doing and just have it getting out there to the people, and then turn it into reels later.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So it's like you don't have to add any like extra things. You can just do what you're doing in a more efficient way.
Yeah.
So
Definitely, because I'll have 6 new stories every single week.
And I did like the one you posted something about your wife.
Yeah.
And did that get a lot of engagement?
Actually, did view it was one of the higher ones for views I've put up on my personal account.
Yeah, because that was like touching. So when you hit the emotions, as you know, that is always effective. Because that seemed like it was from the heart.
I think I was about 2 hours, which is usually about a good mark. I was about 2 hours into the run, about 2.5 hours into the run, and still have about an hour and a half left. But that's usually where I've finally kind of got my head clear, and I'm actually, I wouldn't say at peace, but I have more peaceful mind. I don't know.
You should go live once you get to your running high. You know, and that could be like a thing. Like, we know we're gonna get your high thoughts.
That'll be
every like for a daily live, you know? Like, that would be cool, because it's almost like I'm learning about hypnosis, right? And that's what it kind of sounds like to me, is you're like in a different level of consciousness at that moment in time. And so then these thoughts come to you, and so if you shared them right away, it could be like a video journal.
So I don't know if I could do that.
I pretty much have a video journal when it comes down to it. If I actually go through my videos and actually log them all together, I probably have I got a good amount of content. Just
Confessions of a High Runner.
Yeah.
Well, no, not high runner, but runner's high, I mean. And the runner.
When I get to like a runner, I don't know. I feel like it's more like getting into like flow state almost. So like time just disappears. So I was like, I don't know if I would even be able to think about grabbing my phone or because it's like you literally
you're disconnected.
Like 3 miles just like disappear, and it's like that took me 30 minutes because I'm not running fast, but it just like it's gone. So
you gotta go. That's why it has to be like on the 4-hour day.
Yeah,
so you get 2 hours in.
Yeah, I'm not doing no 4-hour days right now, fool.
Oh, step up.
2 hours is my top right now. And
that's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot of.
That's only on Saturdays. Usually during the week, it's 1.5 hours to 1:15. Nothing crazy. Just weekends. And right now, it's starting to get to the point where.
And you're making me feel bad about my 2-hour run, man.
Yeah, that's pathetic. Week.
My weekend.
And I can't even run for 10 minutes.
Oh, there's a lot of walking too.
Yeah, it's like especially out on the trail. I go up when going up the trail. I'm always looking at my heart rate. So as soon as my heart rate gets near 150, I'll stop and walk.
Okay.
Let it get down into the 30s and then go again.
Yeah.
And then typically on the way back down the hill, it'll stay in like the 140s, and that's for me, like, because it's 5 miles out and 5 miles back with my daughter on the trail most Sundays. Yeah, and the 5 miles back is always just like so peaceful, because you can just keep going. Downhill, your heart rate doesn't get all crazy.
I wonder why you're getting hurt constantly.
Getting hurt?
140 is too high.
No, that's my lactate levels are under 2 millimolars right there. I've been doing lactate testing. Don't tell me about where my heart rate should be.
Who's running only 2 hours?
Banter.
I'm not trying to run more than that right now.
Every time you try, though.
I haven't been injured in forever. I've been totally healthy.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, you can't get injured because you guys have a lot of work to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
So, so let's get back to that.
That
now.
was the most authentic moment of the whole podcast.
I know. So what was the question? How much you invested? That's what we started with. And then we got off on a tangent. So because you hired someone,
Well,
you hired your editor. I know you invested in
Well, technically,
Panetta Media,
we
which
put
was
another
like
hat on our graphics guy. He was our
Yeah.
graphics guy. He
Okay.
still is our graphics guy. Then he started doing clear bras, and then
Yeah.
now this is all kicked off. So now he has editor, which I'm at a point where it's I got to hire even more people because I want him recording and putting content out now. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want that to stop.
Yeah.
Which that means I have to replace him as a graphic installer, and I got to replace him as a ClearBrow installer, which I just got done
Yeah.
training him for the past 2 years. So,
right.
but I where I can see he's passionate about what he's doing,
Mhm.
and that's kind of. I mean, that was the other kind of cool thing about the first meeting we had with Panetta. He had us do the personality test.
That
which is
was so
huge.
cool.
Yeah, I found out that having him,
Wait, what are you?
me, operator,
Oh, that makes sense. What are you?
What was the name of it?
promoter.
Promoter.
That's me.
Yeah, that's exactly what Ryan said.
Yeah, I had the promoter.
Yeah.
I
We were-
definitely feel like I'm
we
more
were
like
total
you.
opposites.
Yeah.
Like our chart was a complete opposite.
Uh-huh.
And I had him running one of my divisions. So
Okay,
I had a year
yeah.
worth of shouldn't have had that happen.
You're less about the details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the weird
Yes.
thing though. Not about when I'm tinning. Not at all. That's like
Yeah.
that's the other
You
spot.
are
I think.
really detailed and
Yeah.
Well,
But-
you're obsessive probably
yeah, like
about
the same way I said I get
certain
into like
things.
that flow state in running.
Yeah.
I feel like I get that way when I'm tinting windows.
Except
So-
we take
Right.
second constantly though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh what?
So you take second constantly though to the person who doesn't do that.
So this test for everyone listening is called the predictive index
Yeah, it was really
assessment
good.
or
Yeah.
something. And yeah, it is fascinating when
Yeah.
you read into it because it gives you a detailed
Yeah.
report, right,
Yeah,
of how
it
you
was so spot
behave.
on too.
Same for me. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, that was because at first it was just kind of just talking like what are our roles in the company,
Mhm.
and then we took the test and then we read through everything, and it was at where we were at that moment. We were all where we needed to be.
That's
Yeah.
and that's shifts that we've like naturally kind of happened in
Yeah.
the recent
Well, I
couple
was
months, and then it was kind of weird because it's like the shifts had just happened, and then we do that with him, and it's like, oh, we actually the
Yeah.
changes we just made were right.
yeah. Well, I was right because when it came down to
You're
it,
always right.
well, no, I was. I got blowback in the fact that when Misty was going, because my cousin, she was doing all the sales.
Yeah.
She had her second child,
Okay.
so she stepped away from the company. She's like, I'm just
Need to focus on being
yeah,
well.
yeah, which totally understand. So instead of last time she stepped away for her first child, I stepped into sales because
Okay.
he was running the flat glass division. He's still one of our installers, and I was just like, I'm the utility knife. I kind of go wherever I'm needed
Sure.
in the company. So I stepped into sales, which I can do.
Yeah, you did
Why?
well.
But I mean, do I enjoy it? I mean, I
Not
can do
really,
it. I can
yeah.
do it because I know the industry. I know our product,
Mhm.
and I can talk with confidence of what we're selling because
Sure.
I've done it for so long. So I mean, I got the job done, but it was not something that like I'm just like, ooh, I want to go do that. I mean,
Right.
every once in a while, sure, just a change of scenery.
Mhm.
That's nice. But I told my sister and told my mom like I wanted to put him into sales,
Mhm.
and they both were kind of like, I don't know. I'm like I'm not worried, not
Yeah.
worried at all. 'Cause he's my dad. And that
Yeah.
my dad was one thing my dad was really good at is sales. He can walk into a house
Yeah.
and instantly you're selling yourself.
Well, you're good at connecting with people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So
It's same thing too, like just having confidence in the product. And we've gotten to the point now where because we've been so growth mindseted, that's not the way to say that.
Mindset,
Growth
yeah.
mindset oriented.
yeah.
There we go.
I
Big boy
was
words.
like, I don't
Sounds
know.
better, though.
Big boy words.
Yeah.
But we've started, 10 years ago, well maybe 5-6 years ago, like we weren't checking windows and like because now you got to meter the window to check for low E coatings and stuff like that. Getting back into sales with all the extra
Mhm.
tools that we have now, the brand that we have behind us,
Yeah.
the fact that most of these people are like, oh, you're the guy in the video.
Yep.
It's like, okay, awesome. Like
That's the goal. That's
Yeah.
what you want. Oh, you're the guy in the video.
I've heard that so many times. It's been crazy.
Mhm.
It's nice that it's not
Yeah.
just me.
But it's nice that I know I can actually give this person the best possible experience because their windows might have a low E coating on them. That means that certain films aren't going to work.
Mhm.
And I know from talking to customers that are getting bids from multiple people that most of the competition out there isn't doing that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. at least I'm going to help educate them, and
Right.
they're going to get a product that's going to work for what they're asking for. And
Yeah.
like that feels really good. I've had a couple people where, because I can install, and the person's like moving out of an apartment that the AC doesn't work, and she's
Mhm.
still got her kids there, even though she just bought this new house, but she wants to make sure that it's as cool as possible and needs the tint done immediately. But we're booked
Okay.
out 3 weeks. Like, all right, the house is empty. I know that I could get this done in about 3 or 4 hours. Like, you want to do it at 5
Yeah.
a.m. one day and like go knock it out, because there's no way we're going to get it in. Like,
Right.
and then that person's like almost in tears, super grateful, and giving me an extra
Sure.
tip even. Like, that feels really good.
Yeah.
So I like that part of it for sure.
Yeah.
Like, if I can help solve someone's problem and then over
Deliver.
meet their expectations, like, awesome. And
Yeah.
I know from my dad that that's the key to like long-term growth. We have over
100%.
50% of our business is still, even with all the marketing success, when we look at in our CRM, over half of our business is repeat customers or referrals.
Because you take care of people.
Yeah. So it's like that is the real multiplier,
Yeah,
right?
I
Because if
agree.
we get 5 extra customers this
Mhm.
week because of a good ad,
Yeah.
that's going to turn into actually like 15 people.
Exactly.
So like that's
Yeah.
the multiplier.
Yeah, but now back to the so getting him into the right position.
You'll keep us on track here.
Yeah. You're the operator,
You're
bro.
the, yeah,
Operate.
getting him into sales.
No, so while we sat down and talked with Ryan, is finding out he's exactly where he needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm technically where I need to be too, and the fact that just
Yeah.
like dealing with getting the crew together, sending them out, getting the operations going. And then my
And
sister,
Michelle, same thing. She was like in the middle.
One.
She was in the middle.
Oh, what was she?
But
She was a rare one because
super flexible.
He hadn't heard that one
yeah,
as much or something.
Yeah. Damn.
I don't remember the names of each
I wish I
one.
remember the name of that one.
But hers, because you know how it's the line down the middle and
Yeah.
like you're on one side or the other.
Yes.
Hers was all like clustered towards the middle, so she's like super flexible.
Wow.
So wherever we need to put her,
Yeah.
she'll get the job done. Tight.
So you know the line where it's subjective or objective, that one. Where,
Yeah.
So I was like all the way to the left. So which
Yeah.
is subject. Now I'm forgetting.
I think so.
Getting
Because
what
I think
words
that's
mean. That's
is
like
that
more
like the-
emotional.
Yeah.
Subjective or subjective. Oh my god, I forgot.
that was like down. That was the bottom one, right?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
one, yeah.
mine was over to the left.
But you want to, I think, be in the middle of that,
Yeah.
so you're like more well balanced.
I think I was just to the right of
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I would imagine you were more balanced. So you make decisions based off of like logic and emotion, like sounds like, but more logical. So
Sure.
I make decisions completely off of emotion.
Yeah.
Like there's no logic, which I don't think I know logic, but like according to that, I was like off the chart. I'm like, good God, that's crazy.
funny.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. But
I think I was to the left on that one also. But I do feel like I do get super passionate about
Mhm.
stuff if I think I have it figured out, like, and it's like this is the thing we need to do.
yes,
So I definitely get emotional about it.
yeah.
But it's because I see the objective truth to it, like
Well,
why
and
it's
we're
gonna work.
also intuitive.
Yeah.
I think people that can feel like if you have a feeling
Yeah.
and you like just know that we need to go this direction, that's like an intuition.
Yeah, I know that's
and I was forcing him for the previous 2 years before we started this. Podcast, sure. Bring it to me though.
Yeah.
Bring me at least a slight outline to it. And it's just we get too busy, and then he's like, "Oh, we just gotta get these few things." And then actually doing it, I'm like, "Yeah, I was more than just a few things." When I
Oh
go,
no, you have to commit,
hiring a
right?
professional. Like we're telling people not to tint their own windows, right? Like, so what did we do? We went and hired a professional, and it's worked
I
out.
literally told you to.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was,
Somebody. Thankfully, this came across because that's when it came down to. It was not just beyond the cameras,
Yeah.
microphones, anything like that. Was also being mentored and actually shown the way by someone who's already doing it, or a
Yeah.
team of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like we came in. Ryan was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you guys need to do
No,
this."
it was a lot of
Yeah, if we
really
did it on
different
our
people.
own,
of people
Yeah.
coming to us,
Yeah.
and tell us, "All right, I need to work on this." I mean, I would say that's probably one of the experience that stands out to me was after we got done with our first 9 or 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Then we finally met Justin.
Mm-hmm.
And like he came in
Yeah.
and introduced himself to us and talked to us, and he's like,
Yeah.
"All right, so I hadn't talked to you guys yet because you weren't ready, pretty much."
Right.
That was pretty much just the conversation was. I've been watching all your guys' stuff. You guys are doing
Mhm.
good. It seems like you guys are comfortable in front of the camera.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do now. And I
Exactly.
didn't tell you any of this because it would have went straight over the top of your
Yeah,
head.
it
to
wouldn't
begin with.
have been relevant in that
Oh,
yeah.
moment. Yeah.
At the moment, I was like, this makes all the sense in the world.
Mhm.
But I wish I would have known all this 9 episodes ago. But
But it wouldn't
It
have helped
wouldn't
you.
have hit,
Yeah.
it
yeah.
wouldn't have helped nothing.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no.
It
training
actually
personality.
it
You
would
guys
get
slowly
you
build up.
it can sometimes stall the growth because it's all about getting comfortable at first. And if you're focused on being strategic, then you can get overwhelmed and
Yeah.
get anxiety and all kinds of things. Like it's
Yeah, and it's not going to
Well,
come
you
off
get too-
authentic either.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. You get too strategic in everything that you're trying to say.
Yes.
It seems like you're just trying to sell me
You're
on everything.
scripted, yeah.
You're trying to sell
It's
me
too
on
much.
everything. It's not. There's no.
Yeah.
There's no. It's not personal. There's nothing.
Well,
you're not-
and then
I'm
the-
not getting to know you. It just seems like you're trying to sell me something.
Right.
In every word you say.
and you can feel that like in the video. And then the other thing is people will invest and then not follow through, right? Like, or they do a few episodes and then they give up. And so it's who's gonna make it, who's gonna be committed, who's gonna keep going. And then once you figure out who those people are and they're comfortable now on camera, okay, now you can get into some more in-depth strategy.
Yeah.
Now you can talk to the big boys, like, or girls, whatever.
That was the really good thing. Like, if we would have done it on our own, we wouldn't have done the brand blueprint.
The brand blueprint,
like,
yep.
all the different things that we did to get going, the way that we
agreed.
just recorded a
Mhm.
bunch without any extra feedback, like all of that kind of had to happen. And
Mhm.
like, it couldn't have gone any better. But that's why you hire a professional if
Yeah.
you really want to be serious about something. And we went into it with the expectation of like, this isn't going to result in anything in the near future.
Right, it's a
We're
long-term
planning
game.
that
Yeah.
we are going to be committed to doing this for the next
Mhm.
year, no matter what. Let's
Yep.
see what happens.
Oh yeah, no, it was.
Yeah.
It's definitely was. I think it was Hermosi. When starting a podcast, was it?
Like,
No one getting past 2.
getting past 10 is like
Or
a
Mhm.
10, like
Yeah.
you're in the percentile that
Yeah, 'cause
you're
nobody
in.
gets
Past
there,
that
yeah.
is because everyone stops beforehand. And that
Yeah.
was the one thing. Like, as soon as we committed to this, I think that was like making the investment in it.
Mhm.
The initial investment was like, no matter what, me being operator or whatever, it was, I made sure like, all right, we are recording on this day. Like, do not schedule anything. And I
Right.
don't care how busy we are. Like, we have to actually get regimented and actually
Yes.
get in here and get it. This is a job. This is
Right.
just like going out to do a job. If we do not keep on a schedule with this, it's not going to get done. It'll get pushed aside like everything else kind of does, where you're working on something and it slowly gets worked on as you go along. But
Yeah.
we thankfully have been able to, like, through the grind of it, and big thing, putting the money up for it was like,
Mhm.
all right, let's if we're gonna give this a go, we actually need to put everything into it. Like,
Right.
we actually need to try as hard as we possibly can, because we're never gonna know if it's gonna work or not unless we
You don't
actually
give it your all.
if
Yeah.
you don't give it everything.
And now 6 or 7 months later, you're definitely seeing the results.
If
from
anything,
that.
we double down when it comes down
So,
to it. I mean,
yeah.
and when thankfully, being given the opportunity to have Ryan be a mentor, like
know.
that was
Yeah.
like that. It's just, to me, it was like, as soon as we were kind of given the opportunity, in my mind, it's like, I want to figure out any way possible to make this happen.
Yeah.
And then, like, thankfully we were able to, because
Yeah.
we're at that point now. Like, it's like, yes, we can tread the water and hope for the best.
Mhm.
And yes, we've been pushing or steering the ship in the right direction, but we don't know where we are technically going to fall off or fall on our
Mhm.
face. Like, having someone who has grown businesses to the size he has and has gone through, especially with the social media
Yeah.
aspect, the podcast and the marketing and all that, like, I'd rather just fast track it and
Yeah.
trust with what I know, like how you guys have steered us the past 6 months. Like, I know what general direction
Yeah.
we're going in, and I want to go, like, we're going to go all in. And
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that attitude of going all in. I mean, those are the people that are successful, right?
Well,
Like-
what's funny is like it really comes back to the trust that Ryan built with us
Mm-hmm.
over time. Because before he even sent me the link for him doing the podcast thing, I had been following Ryan. So the
Right.
second he sent it to me,
Oh, I know this guy. Yeah.
yeah, I know him. I've listened to a bunch of his podcasts.
Yeah.
Like I just was listening to one.
Yeah.
It was like Caleb from Hermosi's team.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, let's go. Like the
Mhm.
trust was there, right? So
Yeah.
that's the other cool thing is like, okay, yeah, we're gonna learn how to do what he's doing,
and
and
it works because it
Yeah.
landed us when it
Yeah.
came down to it. And it's not when And then what really comes out, it's not smoke and mirrors because
Yeah.
we got into it. We've now
Yeah.
went through the process, and we're seeing the same
Yeah.
results
And
when
it's
it comes
still
down
hard
to it.
work, right?
Oh
Like
yeah,
it's still
we're
a
the busiest
lot,
we've ever been.
you
We're
know,
both putting in.
and again, people need to not focus on vanity metrics of, you know, because some people don't stick it out, right? They maybe film some content, do some podcasts, but they're not really seeing, you know, results like they thought they'd see on their accounts.
Yeah.
And so then they kind of put it off, and it's, you have to stay committed to it, and then you have to also realize like you can do some pretty amazing things with less than 5,000 followers, less than 3,000, whatever.
Oh yeah.
You know, you just have to shift your mindset. Like if you're thinking that you can only be successful if you have, you know, as many followers as Ryan, like that's not true.
Yeah.
So
You gotta start somewhere. And
yeah, you got to start somewhere.
and
Yeah.
you gotta slowly grind it out. Like
Yeah.
and it, for me, it's it equates almost like with my training for
Yeah.
the ultra marathons. Like I've gotten to the point I've ran 3 of them now, and every time I've gone the 100-mile distance, like the amount of knowledge I pull from that run
Mhm.
is unbelievable. And
Right.
it takes, like right now I'm at week 18 of a 24-week training
Mhm.
cycle, and I've done this now. I've done this training cycle twice, and the progression I've had from my last time I did the 24-week one to this one, night and day. But
Right.
that's because I did the 24 weeks to begin with,
Mhm.
the last 100-mile race I did. And I mean, that took me a good 6, with the race, a little over 6 months. Yeah, 24 weeks.
So the consistency and the
it's-
dedication.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
totally.
what will be rewarded.
With
Don't
everything.
look at the game that's going to come. Like, don't think that all of a sudden it's going to come right then. No,
Right.
stick at it for 6 months to
Yeah.
a year. Then look back at where you started to where you're at that moment and
Mhm.
realize, like, oh, wow. Like, I mean, for us, it's been, like I said, it's been 6, 7 months since we've been doing the podcast
Yeah.
and pushing out our content. And it's like, we were seeing the benefit. It was slowly creeping. Now it's like,
Now
okay,
it's
this is getting
coming.
crazy.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, oh, like, if this keeps going, like, oh, this is going to be nuts.
It's gonna be a huge blessing.
Oh, it's
Yeah. I mean, and
that's
the,
a problem in the world to have.
the
Like,
one the one like in-person meeting we've done with Ryan so far was like exactly what we needed. Like,
Yeah.
let's go over the numbers of the business. What are you guys currently doing?
Mhm.
And what are the things that that are levers that we can like pull on right now that are
Yeah.
the things that are most important? And it was like we needed to all have someone that we trust, that we know knows more than us in business, especially
Mhm.
getting to that next level, to be like, okay, this is what we're thinking, and
Yep.
for him to give his feedback and be like, this is what you need to do, and all 3 of us to be like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, we're
Yeah.
not going to argue about which direction we need to go right now. This is the direction we're going to go. We're
Yeah.
going to take that advice and we're going to run with it, and we're going to watch and see what happens.
Yeah.
And
No, I think that's huge. But what you guys have done requires a lot of courage, right? Because you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I think that you're self-aware enough and committed to everything that you do that you know there's always something that you're getting out of all of these investments. Like
Oh.
even the bad ones, right?
Yeah.
Like even stuff that you've invested in that hasn't been great.
That's, you
You learn a lesson.
Yeah.
You know, you learn something from it.
Yep.
So it's having the courage to put the money into it and know that no matter what, it's gonna work out. I mean, in this case, obviously I believe in Ryan and his coaching. That's why I'm here, because he's amazing. But I know some people, they get they have a bad experience, let's say, with a coach or a mentor, and so then they don't want to invest anymore. And it's like, that's not how it works.
yeah, that doesn't make sense. Because then you're just treading blindly into the water and not knowing. Like, you're
Yeah.
just guessing. It's all guesswork. I mean, when it comes down to it, if you're gonna keep trying to scale and grow, it's either you can find someone that you trust that's
Mhm.
already has done that and is still doing it at that next level. Like, there's always another level to get to. When
Right.
it comes down to it, there's always another level.
And the cool thing is right now is a lot of it you don't have to pay for, right? Like,
Mhm.
a lot of our growth in the last couple of years has come from actively following people like Ryan, getting
Yeah.
the free information,
Sure.
following Alex Hermosi, getting his free information.
Yeah.
Then we even, Jocko, like there's a lot of really
Mhm.
successful people out there right now that truly want other people to do well.
Yeah.
And like, I want to be part of that community. Like,
Yeah.
if I can help someone else, like, that's amazing, right?
Yeah, and I think that that's a basic human need. We
Mm.
all, I don't care what anyone says. Like, because some people will be like, I don't need that. Yes, you do. Everyone wants to feel like they've made a contribution and they've helped someone.
Totally.
So
that was probably the coolest thing about, and I think we've mentioned it before, about going to the Tinder battles and then just talking to people that them randomly mentioning like, oh, I've been listening to your podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then we had this, I won't say kid, but he's 23. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's not like I'm not that much older than him, but he's out of Tennessee. And
yeah, me neither.
He's out of Tennessee, and we struck up a conversation. He wanted some tips and tricks when it came to the flat glass. So we talked the 3 days we were there, but me and him have continued to communicate.
Yeah.
And I've already told him, like, dude, if you're in Vegas, you're definitely coming on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. That's
23, awesome. He's opening up his second location already.
Wow.
Where it's like, at 23, I was just, technically, if I really wanted to be 100% honest, I was trying to run my life into the ground.
Yeah.
So it was nowhere.
Different place.
Yeah. Nowhere near the level where he's at. And then, like, he randomly sent me a screenshot of he was listening to the podcast, and then he said, don't look at the pace. He went for like a 3.5 mile run.
That's awesome.
And he's like, dude, keep crushing it. And I was like, I'm like looking at the pace too. I'm like, dude, stop beating yourself up. Like, you're doing 99% more than most people do to begin with. Just keep getting at it, man.
Yeah,
but
and that
like,
feels great.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Oh, that's the craziest thing about it is like we had him, and then I had another guy who came up to us and was like, I got into tinning because I started listening to your guys' podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's creepy.
I mean, look, it's all about serving. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Is like, are you serving people? And so many people make it about them, and it's not about you. It's about serving others and helping others.
This has definitely opened my eyes, and like going to events like that, Tinder Battles was the big thing. Is now this industry has blessed my family with everything from what my dad's built for us, and then what he's been able to hand over to me, and what I've been able to provide for my family, and like our business being able to help people provide for their families. Like, I'm at a point now where I just want to give back to the industry.
Yeah.
I just want to help our industry as much as possible when it comes down to it. And like going to that event, it kind of opened my eyes more to what more can I do to
That's why
help.
Events are so important too.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
People don't realize that.
That one event, he is, and it's they're already talking about maybe putting a second one on this year. I told you that my one clip that hit 13 million.
Yeah.
Now my clip was about, I think it was about 45 to 50 seconds. That's what blew my mind, is the fact that it got that many views, and it was technically a decently long long clip. About a week and a half later, 2 weeks later, he posted it because he's been slowly trickling out the content he's captured, which he has 3 days of us competing and doing instructionals and all that. He put out another clip of Marcus doing was one of the squeegee battles. So pretty much it was just squeegeeing the window.
Yeah.
But it was head to head against someone else.
Okay.
That one popped. It started going, trickling up. It's upward of about 60 million views right now. Like, just on his Facebook page alone on Tinder Battles, they have over 100 million views from this one event, from a couple clips combined together.
Yeah.
And it's like that to me. After I saw all those things pop, and then the fact that as soon as ours popped, I instantly hit him up. I was like, will you put our page link on there?
Yeah.
Will you put our podcast link on there?
Yeah.
I mean, that was the first week we were doing the mentorship with Ryan. He had hit me up. It was a Saturday, and I was like, no, weekends are for family. I'm not gonna bug him. And then he texted me about something, and I was like, all right, well, you're on the phone. You text me. I was like, I don't want to bug you, but we have a video that just popped that I'm a part of it. It's got our stuff. I'm like, I feel like we should be doing something to stay engaged.
Yeah.
He's like, so I was in the comments. Everyone that was hating, I loved every single one of their comments. I'm like, yes, just keep talking. I absolutely love it. And then anyone else that was in the comments, they would be like, well, why was he doing this? Why was he doing that? And then I would just sit there and explain and just educate. And I stayed in there for a while, and then eventually it just kind of got out of control. It was like, all right, I can't spend that much time in there. But
I mean, that's a lot of
it's still mind blowing to me. I mean, and then you look at the shareds, and you look at how many different languages it's in, and it's not just like it's being shared in our country. It's being shared around the world. Like,
I could see you guys
languages.
having a reality show because you're a family. Has that ever been a topic of discussion?
Yeah, that's another idea I had a long time ago.
I could totally see
the Orange
that.
County Chopper show, I was like, dude, we just need to record us interacting with our dad at the shop. It would have been
So since you have Jordan, you should do that.
It won't be as spicy as it was back in the day.
It will. It'll just be a different. It's just going to be a different season, right, of life.
Yeah.
But But even your YouTube bantering over
Well,
things.
I've always said that.
I
You
had to
know?
put a paywall in front.
No, I think well, that was my idea is do a subscriber account on the Instagram,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
the like you get the behind the
The
scenes,
raw,
the real
yeah.
behind the scenes.
Right. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no, it's just like an interesting dynamic. And that's just, I mean, that is another example of why you need a strong personal brand, because you think about all these reality shows, right, that have done very well.
Yeah.
And why do they do well? Because it's so real, it seems. Some of them are not,
Yeah.
right? But the way that it's presented, and it's not all about the business or the product, it's about the people.
Yeah.
That was more likely where my question was coming from when it came to, say, anything with like my training, because that's one thing that we heavily talk about is
Yeah.
beyond
That's
the
a big part of
business
you,
is it's the training. I mean, that's where it's got me to in the business. Like without my running, without my training, I wouldn't have turned. I think I would have turned my life around. But if
Yeah.
anything, it's giving me a steady path to walk now, and it's helped me in the business.
Right.
Like I can't even put a number on like how much it's helped me.
The
on
value
business.
of
The
it,
value
yeah.
of it. It's
Tell me, go ahead,
No, I
Josh.
was gonna say for so I think you should, like she was saying, do stories, but then also your normal posts that
Yep.
you do. Instead of collaborating with the shop, just like tag the shop, and then the shop
That's a
can
good
share
idea.
it in the shop stories.
That's a great idea. Yeah,
okay.
it's a great idea. I want to know, as we wrap up here, because you're about to go film content with Ryan, I want to know what investing in this whole podcast and creating content and building your personal brand, how has that changed you on a personal level?
Ooh, on a personal level, I would say it's changed me on a personal level. Just I guess be more engaged with my business
Okay.
when it comes down to it. I mean, not to get comfortable. Get used to being uncomfortable. Do
That's good.
the uncomfortable thing. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing for me, especially when it came to social media and getting the content out there. Like, I technically, when it came to any of the ads we've ever shot in the shop with cars and stuff that we were all paid ads, they've always made me. I've always been the face, unfortunately.
Okay.
And I say that it's like they've always put me forward. And I've been like, okay, I'll do it. But it's definitely helped me get more comfortable with being out there and putting myself out there when it comes down to it.
Yeah, so you got more vulnerable, it sounds like, and which is scary, and and then you built more connections in the business and outside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your screen time went up quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I've been kind of blown away by how much feedback we've gotten. With as like our numbers aren't crazy. Like the downloads on Apple, or all of the metrics of looking at like how many people are listening, or even what we're getting on Instagram is more than we used to get. But it still doesn't seem like a big number. It's kind of what we were talking about earlier. But the amount of people that are telling me face to face that that's how they found us is like overwhelming. So it's like, definitely don't let the numbers like dictate what you're doing. Like if you are gonna go after getting better at social media, treat it like running or like anything else, like learning how to tint or running a business. Just keep getting better at it.
Yeah.
Like keep trying to learn from people who know how to do it. Have
Be
multiple,
coachable.
be super coachable. Have multiple mentors, and there's tons of digital ones you can get out there now.
Yeah.
Not everything everybody says is gospel, but try it.
Try it.
Like,
Yeah. It is a lot of trial and error,
feedback,
right?
Like that's the only way to get the feedback you need. Like you can't progress at running without going for runs and stretching your longest run out and seeing what's going to happen. And that's all trial and error. Sometimes you go out for a certain distance and you're not feeling it.
Yeah.
It can't happen. Like you won't know unless you go do it though.
Right.
Oh, no, being open with being vulnerable. That's definitely something I've pulled from it. It's okay. I mean, not to say I've never thought it was okay, not okay to be vulnerable, but being more open about it and putting yourself out there, because you don't know what anyone else is kind of going through, and you don't know what little tidbit of anything you put out will help somebody else.
Why do you think men specifically struggle with vulnerability so much?
I guess, damn.
Ego.
Definitely ego,
I think so too.
Yeah, I would say ego, and I mean, I guess for me, it's just not wanting to let anyone down. I
Yeah,
mean,
you guys
that's me
feel like the
personally.
weight of the
Yeah,
world on you.
and I feel like it's my job. Like it's my job to shoulder
Yeah.
that. Like I mean, I watched my dad. I don't know how my dad did it. Creating like running a business and then raising three kids at the same time. Like
Mhm.
I'm raising a kid, and I
Mhm.
have a gigantic team around me, and we have I have the what by the time we started actually running things, 3 decades of a business being built with already a brand
Yeah.
established, and
Well,
like
you just do it, right? You do the best
Yeah,
that you
well,
can.
yeah,
that definitely that, but it's still it's like at times like when I was probably when I was about 18, 19, I got my first kind of taste of like here run the business. My parents went on a 2 week vacation in the Caribbean,
Mhm.
and pretty much I think it was like $70 a minute for a phone call. So my dad said like
Yeah.
the shop better be on fire.
Right.
If you call me, there
Yeah.
better be something really wrong. And I mean I didn't want to call them. I wanted to show them hey
Yeah,
I
that you
can
could
do
do it.
this.
Yeah.
And that was my first little taste, and I thought I understood it then. I still think I do understand it more now, but I
Mhm.
think obviously there'll be more to come down the road
And it's
as
always evolving, I feel like,
oh
right?
oh absolutely. And like
So,
when he had his stroke, that was the real kind of like I guess holy shit moment for me
mhm.
when it came down to it because he was my first mentor. Like
Mhm.
it every decision in the company, like when he was slowly starting to hand the reins over and letting us run stuff, anything that was going to be decided, I always called him and ran it by him. Like,
Yeah.
and he would always tell me the same thing: "You make the decision." But
Wow.
I'd always ask
What
him.
a great leader. Yeah.
It took me and him a long time to create that relationship.
Mhm.
But towards then, that's what it was. So when he was completely yanked from the company, it was like people asking me questions, and it's like I couldn't call my dad. It was
Yeah.
definitely hard, but big learning moment.
Eh,
But
Yeah.
the, I totally answered the question the wrong way. The,
There's no right or wrong.
well, but the personal moment, like personally, how's it
Mhm.
changed you? The moment with our dad on the podcast, the very first one we recorded, was a real like eye opener for me because I do same as Ricky. I take the responsibility of like I
Mhm.
know how many people's mortgages
How many
and
people are depending on
yeah,
you?
like
Yeah.
the machine we have now isn't just a couple people and then when we get together and have like quarterly get-togethers with everybody's families, it's like, we fill up a giant section at the Golden Knights game. It's like
Mhm.
30, 40 people when you include all the
Yeah.
kids and stuff. And it's just like every time we've done that, I just kind of sit back and go, wow, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
But that moment with my dad when he told us that he's not stressed about the business anymore, that was a big, like, okay, cool, we're doing the right thing
Like the
right now.
best kind of compliment you
Just
could
like the
ever
best,
get.
I don't know, uh, like it felt really good to know that like that's the goal, like right,
Mhm.
like I know how long that he did to support us to make sure we could have the best lives possible, and he still does for all the grandkids and everybody.
Mhm.
um, Knowing that he wasn't worried anymore
Yeah.
was really nice, and I think that's a big motive for me moving forward, like consciously, is like I don't ever want that to be the case again. I know how
Yeah.
many downturns the economy's had that the shop barely made it through, that they barely scraped through by the skin of their teeth, and I don't ever want them to feel that again.
yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Wow. That's
or anybody that works for us, like the whole team.
That's the scariest part about I would say jumping into something new, especially like going into the podcast and
mhm.
then everything else we've invested into it. That's the scary thing is are we making the right decision? Because it's not just no longer about I have to. Because when it comes down to it, if something catastrophic happens, I can go 10 windows. I can
Mhm.
support myself. But we have other people within our company that
Yeah.
technically they depend on the company to support their families.
Sure.
So beyond the fact that like I want to make sure my family is always supported, and I want to make sure everyone within our company is supported,
Yeah.
and that we're always making the right decision and not making a decision. I don't say technically out of emotion, but just making a decision that's going to damage the company. Because
Yeah.
if that happens, now I got to look at the fact of it. And that was probably the other scare for me for hiring people. Is hiring is not that easy. It's not easy. Now I think about it, it's not easy, but it's easier than saying having to fire someone because
Mhm.
hey, we don't have enough work,
Right.
and like
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure I don't ever have to experience that
Yeah.
because I don't want to experience that. So that's probably the biggest fear with the expansion and getting bigger. That's one thing I think that scares my mom the most. That's why
Mhm.
she is so um, she pushes back a little bit with how we are growing the business. They've always been kind of keep it small, keep it all. But I want to get to the point where we're big enough to where if any one of us wants to go do something, and that's anyone within the company, you can go do what you want.
Yeah,
Go
I
spend
think that's
go spend a week
important.
without being bugged by anyone. Like we've gotten to that point now where like if I go on vacation, like I might get a couple phone calls on the first day, and that's stuff bleeding from me just leaving the shop or customers of that sort. But past that, after that first day, I don't get bugged unless there's something really bad happening. But otherwise, everyone within the company, they know what they need to be doing or that needs to be done, or the decision needs to be made that they hopefully have empowered them to make the decision.
Right.
And what's the worst case scenario? Like
that's the thing. I
Yeah.
think we get stressed about things that could go wrong, and it's like, what good does that do?
Yeah.
So what's your final tip for somebody that's scared about filming content? Like, what could they go do right now, today?
just do it. I mean, I'm not trying to be short and simple, but that was when it comes down to it. Now that I have started doing it, especially like getting into my Instagram page, it was part of it obviously was the shop. Is I wanted to brand myself to the shop. I saw the power and potential in that because even with those ads that we were creating where I was forward facing, people are walking in the shop and they're like, oh, is Ricky tinting my car? And now it's at a point, it's like, no, if I'm installing on your car, it's because either that part of the shop needs a helping hand real quick and I'm over there to help them when it comes down to it. But just do it. I mean, that was the biggest thing. Like I did it for the business and I also did it for my running. Like I wanted to start going after sponsorships for running. I mean, as much as simple.
So if anyone wants to sponsor him, hit him up.
Well, all the main like the running, like the shoe companies or even like the hydration system stuff like that. Like they all put out once a year. They put out you can join their sponsored team, and they all had the same thing on there. What are your social media handles?
Right.
They want to see what you're kind of putting out there. They want to see how you're training, and they want to make sure you're doing what you're doing. So I was like, damn, I'm going to have to do this. So I slowly created it, and then now going through this whole process and then realizing that just put it out there. If it flops, it flops.
Oh, well,
Who cares? Go on to the next one. Because eventually something is going to catch, or the accumulation of all those things in a row, that's what's going to add up. That's going to be the slow buildup. Because at first I was only sharing things on Facebook because that's all I had at the time. And I would share my runs. And then I would slowly get people going like, dude, you're crazy. What are we talking about? Like your runs. Because I would just post what mileage I'm doing, like just off my my Strava app that tracks all my running. And then now that slowly has gotten to the point now where it's like, get past the fact that, because when I'm recording, I'm like, who wants to hear what I'm...
But people do that are similar to you.
Yeah.
Well, as I say that too, a lot of it was spurred by the fact that when I usually run, I'll listen to a podcast. And it's like, if I'm listening to like Andy Stumpf and he's got someone on who's just some random, not random, but he came across their social media. Didn't know it. I hear their story. I'm just
then
like...
you go check them out, right?
Check them out. But literally just hearing that person's story, like all of a sudden, like it motivates me or changed me and to do something, to actually action it and go after something. And I was like, okay, let's just put it out there to put it out there.
That's why vulnerability is so important in sharing your story. That's exactly right. What you just said is because that story can change someone else or inspire them or help them. But the only way it can help them is if you're brave enough to share it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. What about for you?
It would be similar to your tip to him, because I could see it happen with me, and then kind of more with him now, even that he figured out what stories are. But like that was the first thing.
Okay,
that was the first thing I started posting, and I feel like it's the least amount of friction. You know it's gonna disappear. So any like fear that it's bad, kind of I think it's a lot easier entry. Start doing stories. And then go from there, and just keep doing it. Yeah, and follow people that are doing what you want to do, like whatever field it's in, whatever. Like follow people that are experts. Follow people that are experts on growing whatever type of brand it is you're trying, whatever it might be, and filter through. There's gonna be some bad ones, but just keep learning.
Yeah.
Like keep trying new things, and if you really want it that bad, you just have to keep doing it.
That's true.
It's like there's a lot of people that
Those are
say
some
they want to run a
powerful
100-mile
words,
race,
yeah.
but they don't put the mileage in to go do it. I'm one of them. Like,
Right. You gotta put in the work. That's what it is.
I mean, and then
So,
there's people that just don't want to do it at all. All right,
Right.
cool. But if you say you want to do it, just start doing it. Like,
you gotta commit.
yeah, and it definitely works. Everybody complains about social media
I
and
know.
people being on their phones. I see it as an opportunity. And it doesn't always have to be bad. There's always this
Yeah.
negative connotation towards social media.
I know. Which I hate.
It's just, I think it's engagement. It's how all of that stuff works, right? People get more worked up about stuff, so the negative stuff seems to gets more traction.
Sure.
Even like
And it
mainstream
always
media,
will.
it's
Yeah.
always going to be negative, negative, negative. But the good sides of it don't get
Mhm.
talked about as much. If
Yeah.
you intentionally follow Ryan, Jocko,
I mean, that's why we're all
Ed
even sitting here,
Milet,
the three of us.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
if Ryan didn't make videos, I wouldn't be working for him, and you wouldn't be clients.
Yeah.
So, and like, that's the cool thing.
That's probably the coolest thing about this is the fact that like how he technically reeled us in to be clients and technically a customer for him is the exact thing that he just like.
Yeah.
It's like the proof's right there. It worked on us when it came
And
down
most
to
of us that work for him, that's how we found him. I mean, I'm not the only one, right? Like, by him doing that, he attracted like-minded people to be a part of his mission.
That just happened though. The person that he just started actually 2 days ago. How he found us was our social media.
Beautiful.
And then when I did the interview with him, I had an acquisition.com hat on, and at first he was like, "Are you guys with him?" I'm like, "No, I bought his books."
Yeah.
But I was like, I follow him, and then I mentioned Pineda. He's like, "Oh," and then like same thing. The kid followed Pineda, and I was just like, I think by the time we got done with that interview, I offered him the job right then.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was just
dude,
it was aligned.
I was like, if you want to join the team, this is what I can offer you, and like it's cool to see someone who is really kind of putting his faith in the fact of like seeing what we're putting online, where we are company in the interview too, like technically took a decent pay cut just to jump in and
because he wants
be an
to be a
apprenticeship.
part of
just to come into the apprenticeship to learn the trait, and because it's something that he had done, and he's like, I think I actually gonna really like this. And then like I told him like, this is what I can do for you. He's like, let me think about it. I think it was like about 3 or 4 hours later he texted me, he goes, I'm in. And I was like, hell yeah, let's go.
So that's the other side of it. Like you were saying, how Ryan brought you into like, not only are we getting customers for Window Tint, but we're getting people that see who we are truly and the culture of our business and understand like, oh, I'd love to go work there. And even some of our employees that are putting out their own content and their own personal brand of them doing side jobs and stuff. I think one of the other hires we just had recently told us that they followed us and one of our employees and DM'd the employee asking how they liked working with us and referred him to come interview.
That's how it works. That's it.
So it really does work. You just have to do it.
I love it. I love these stories. Well,